Good morning, my name is Julian B. Sikay from ACT 2C. Telephone skills, the art of listening. What makes a good listener? Some people are good listeners and some are not. Most people are somewhere in between because each situation is difficult. If the topic of discussion interests you, you might make more effort to listen and understand the speaker. If you find the topic of little interest, your mind may wander, and you start thinking about what to make for dinner instead of listening to what's being said. Listening and paying attention are even harder to do when you're dealing with the telephone conversations. There is a greater chance of distraction because you are not face to face with the customer. So what can you do to help yourself focus? These are some steps to help ensure you are giving your customer your complete attention. First, do not have any unnecessary papers on your desk. You might be tempted to read them instead of listening to the customer. Second, make sure you have a quiet workspace so you are not distracted by the other staff members. Third, use a comfortable headset with appropriate volume so you can hear the customer. And fourth, if there is a bad connection, get the customer to phone back from a different phone or promptly call them back. Telephone etiquette. When a customer calls, your voice represents the whole business. To the caller, you are the business. How you handle the call can win him/her over for life or send him/her in search of another company. The caller needs you to be effective and efficient. Effective. Producing a decided, decisive, or desired effect. Successful in producing a desired or intended result. Efficient. Achieving maximum productivity with minimum wasted effort or expense. Preventing the wasteful use of a particular resource. First impressions are lasting impressions. When you meet someone for the first time, you leave an impression, good or bad. When you meet someone on the phone for the first time, you also leave an impression. The impression also reflects the company you are representing. The person to whom you are speaking cannot see your facial expression or read your body language. They rely on what they hear to form an impression about you and your company. Your tone of voice, manners, word usage, and speech patterns all play a role in helping the caller form an opinion of you. You will want to be courteous and pleasant, sound interested, use an appropriate volume, emphasize appropriate words, don't talk too fast, speak in a calm voice, pause when giving information, keep your pitch low. Be courteous and pleasant. This seems that it should almost go without saying, but be sure that you are being courteous and pleasant. Listen to your voice as you are speaking. Do you sound friendly? Try smiling when you answer the telephone. A smile on your face is a smile in your voice. Just because they can see your smile doesn't mean they can't hear it. Use an appropriate volume. Almost everyone can recall a time when they have spoken to someone on the phone and actually had to pull the receiver away from their ear to avoid painfully loud caller's voice. Sometimes people across the room can hear the conversation word for word. This is something to remember when using the phone. Speak at a normal volume in a clear voice. If you suspect that the caller may not be able to hear you, ask if they would like you to speak a little louder. Would you like me to speak up with Mr. Jones? Keep in mind the type of phone that is being used. Cell phones and cordless phones sometimes have poor reception. Use a moderate rate of speed. Since using the phone is a regular part of your day, you may find that you are repeating the same information several times. It almost becomes second nature, and you can do it without really thinking about it. The problem with this is that we tend to speed up when we are giving off information that we know so well. We must remember that even if this is the 10th caller today who has asked the store hours of operation, it is the first time the caller is hearing it. We are open from 9 to 5 every weekday and 9 to 9 on Saturdays. It's not helpful or sending a positive image of your company. Nervousness can also lead to speaking quickly. Some people get nervous and rush through the phone call to get it over with faster. They don't like talking to strangers. To help relieve this, take a deep, calming breath before answering the phone. And then at a moderate rate of speed, normal to slow, take the call. If you are in the middle of a conversation and you realize that you have been speaking quite quickly, ask the caller if he/she needs any of the information repeated or clarified, or he/she has any questions. Then repeat the information more slowly. Practice this with a friend or co-worker. Often, we cannot judge our own rate of speech. You want to speak slowly enough so that the caller understands you, but not so low that it makes it hard to listen to. Pause when giving information. If you are giving information that a caller may want to write down, pause after each section. You may want to suggest that you will be giving a number, address, catalog number, name, and the caller may want to get a pen and paper. I have the number you need, Mr. Smith. If you would like, I could wait while you get a pen and paper and write the information down. The name of the person you need to call is Joanne Kettle. Pause. Kettle. Pause. Her number is short pause. Area code 489. Pause. 356. Pause. 3742. Sound interested. The caller will hear this interest in your voice. Let the caller know that he, she, and her situation are your first priority. Watch the inflection in your voice. Inflection. Letting your voice raise and fall naturally. When you ask a question, your voice raises at the end. Would you like me to give rap that for you? Some people have learned a particular speech pattern where their inflection raises at the end of every sentence. A lot of people find this particular speech pattern difficult to listen to. If you have this pattern, you may want to practice speaking without it. With concentrated effort, you can learn a new speech pattern. Emphasize words. Choose important words or phrases to emphasize. For example, this particular model is very economical. It has a built-in feature that measures and records the water levels needed. It is also a memory sensor that will allow it to repeat these water levels. This saves you both time and money. This feature is only available in this model. No other company has this new technology. Speak in a calm voice. Remain calm. No matter what the situation, if you become upset or anxious and it shows in your voice, no one will be able to understand you and you will lose the confidence of those around you. Keep your pitch low. If you speak in a high-pitched voice, you may want to make a concentrated effort to speak in a lower pitch, as this carries much over the telephone. Some other tips. The words you use when talking to customer is very important. They form an impression of you based on how you talk. Here are some phrases you can use and some rules you can follow when talking on the phone. When speaking to someone, say, "May I please speak to John? I would like to speak to John Jones." Don't say, "Is John there? Can I speak to John?" When the person you called is not in, say, "May I leave a message? I would like to leave a message. Would you please tell him that Susan called? Thank you. Goodbye." Don't say, "Where is she?" Tell him Susan called. Okay, and hang up. Bye, and hang up. While you are on the phone, do pay attention to the call and listen. Make the conversation short if you can. Don't talk to someone in the room with you. Don't ask the person to hold on for a long time. Don't keep talking to people after they say they have to hang up. Don't chew a gum or eat. Don't suddenly say, "I have to go by," and hang up, unless it's an emergency. Telephone anxiety. This occurs when we feel anxious or nervous about talking on the phone. We don't want to talk to strangers or customers. We are worried about getting information wrong or not knowing what to say. A large percentage of jobs involve talking on the telephone. So this is something that can stop us from doing jobs that we otherwise would enjoy or be very good at. How can we overcome telephone anxiety? First, be prepared. Have a pen and message pad available. Use commercial message pads which are specific to the telephone messages. Fill in all the blanks and you have covered all the important information. Second, speak slowly and clearly. Third, practice. Ask a friend to help you. Script it out. Knowing that you are going to say takes a lot of pressure off. Fourth, anticipate. Imagine you are the customer. Why would you be calling the business? What might you want or need to know? Take the time to learn important information on hand. Create a sheet of information that you keep handy. This may include a price list, your company history, the names and extensions of staff, whatever people are asking about. Fifth, if you are unable to answer any questions, take the caller's name and number. Find the information and call the customer back right away. Then add this information to the sheet mentioned above. Next time someone needs this information, you will have it. And six, if you need to transfer calls, find out who does on what your staff and keep this handy. For example, Jane in accounting can help you with that, Mr. Jones. I'll transfer your call to her desk. If you'd like to write her extension number in your phone book for future reference, it is extension 431. What to say and how to see it. Identify yourself. Whether you are calling someone or answering incoming calls, identify yourself right away. Why identify yourself? If you are calling someone, identifying yourself, let them know who you are and what company you are calling from. This helps them focus on why you are calling. You will probably only give your first name. There is usually a policy written in a call center about how you answer the phone or greet the person you have called. Make sure you read and understand this policy. If you are answering an incoming call, identifying yourself in your company lets the caller know right away if they have reached the correct number and to whom they are speaking. Suggestions for answering the telephone. Good morning, Spyglass Enterprises, Mary speaking. Spyglass Enterprises, Mary, how may I direct your call? Good morning, Spyglass Enterprises, Mary speaking. How may I help you? Suggestions for placing a telephone call. Hello, this is Mary from Spyglass Enterprises. I am calling for Tom Lamb. Is he available? Good morning. May I speak to Tom Lamb, please? Thank you. Hello, this is Mary from Spyglass Enterprises. Logging the call. Logging a call means collecting all the necessary information from the customer to correctly track the phone call. Why is this important? If you work at a help desk and customers that do not have warranty on a product have to pay for the service, you must correctly log the calls to show who they are, how they are paying, and what the call was about. If the customer is still under warranty, they do not have to pay for the service, but an accurate record where the call must be kept for statistics on the products as well as customer records. If you log a call incorrectly, you may cost the company or the customer a lot of money. What kinds of information do you collect? Usually, when logging a call, you use a software program on the computer. If the first question you ask is for the person's phone number, you would enter that into the computer and see if they already have a log of previous calls. If there is no record for the customer on file, you must complete one before continuing with the call. You would ask for the full name and address, telephone number, and possibly even which products they own. Outbound call centers would use a different kind of logging system based on how far into the conversation they got. They already have the customer's name and phone number because they have made the initial call. They must verify that the contact information they have is correct before sending the customer the product or more information by mail. Closing the call. When closing a call, you must make sure not to rush the person off the phone. There are some basic things that must be addressed first. Tell the customer what to expect and when. Tell them for their business. And on a positive note. Step 1 and 2 keeps the customer involved in the process and will ensure the customer has a common understanding of what will happen next. Then third and fourth steps show courtesy and respect. If the last thing the customer hears before hanging up is an upbeat positive statement and a heartfelt thank you, he or she will have a favorable impression of you and your company. Call monitoring. A good call center has effective coaching that helps the call center worker. In Module 1, we learned that there are typically 3 techniques of coaching in call centers. The most effective training method is to use a combination of all 3, customer like walking by. First, a drive-by. When the coach or supervisor overhears a rep's response to a customer while walking by. Second, side-by-side coaching. The coach or supervisor sits beside the rep, usually listening in on a headset to both sides of the call. Third, remote monitoring. The supervisors or coach listens to calls from a location away from the rep's workstation. In a good call center, the monitoring is done to improve the quality of the work while creating a positive learning environment for the agents. To do this, the supervisor looks at a different call center process to measure agents' performance. Average handling time, AHT, average talk time, ATT, average word time, AWT, average hold time, AHT, following the staffing schedule is average speed of answer.